Massive TNA signings revealed, WWE titles vacated, and a debut is being pushed back. Very unfortunate news there, and it's all coming up right here on the Ango Show. All right, guys, welcome back to TAS. Thank you all for stopping by day before Thanksgiving, giving you guys some interesting wrestling news. Lance Anoa'i, we know that he was expected in WWE. We know that he signed with the WWE. But now WWE is doing something that's actually kind of rare. They signed him. They knew he was injured, but they're not going to debut him until he is cleared, which at least according to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, it appears that he won't even be cleared until early 2025. Now, it's very rare that WWE brings in a talent that's injured, but for some reason they've done that in this case. Now, there's obviously a couple different reports on as to when he signed with the WWE. Some people believe he signed it with the company when Hikuleo joined. Some people feel like it's a little bit more recent. He has been spotted reportedly at the Performance Center. So obviously there's a lot of questions here. And what I want to say is this, and I want to make it really clear. It's rare that WWE does this, but also at the same time too, it's November 27th, 2024. Not like there's that much time until 2025. I also want to point out there are a lot of people who are speculating that Lance will be part of the third iteration of the Bloodline. And I don't know where this concept is coming from. Quite frankly, I laugh at it, and I'm even laughing in my head at this very moment, just thinking about WWE potentially extending this Bloodline stuff to a third reiteration. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I think WWE is actually going to brand Lance Anoa'i completely different from what he is currently. I don't think WWE plans to keep his name. I don't think WWE wants him affiliated with the Bloodline, but you never know. WWE is very weird about this. WWE brings in indie talent, and obviously Lance has a lot of experience from MLW, but sometimes WWE brings in talent, they automatically force the name change. Sometimes they don't. This is one of those situations where I believe they are going to rebrand him. Very similar to what we saw with Carl Frederick becoming Eddie Thorpe or Brian Pillman Jr. becoming Lexus King. I think they are going to do something a little bit different here. And that's okay if WWE decides to go that route. I really don't like the idea of them doing a third Bloodline faction. I could see WWE going that route because of the success of the storyline, but I don't have that in my preferences. But I like Lance. I think he's a hell of a talent. It's unfortunate that he's injured to begin with, but I am excited to see what actually happens here and how they go about it. Quite frankly, WWE is going to have a very big challenge here because NXT is missing some main event stars on their main event scene. And Lance is a talented guy. I would like to see him in the mix. I want to see him up there. I want to see them do something and present him as a big star. Who knows what's going to happen? Obviously, his delay is being pushed back. WWE still paying him. We'll see what happens. Let me know what you guys think. Okay, WWE Women's Tag Titles. We know that Jade Cargill is legitimately injured. Now, WrestleVotes is putting out a very interesting story because he's reported that he is hearing WWE will strip Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair of the women's tag team titles. It is currently unclear how WWE plans to do this, when they plan to do this, or how they even plan to crown new champions. They're working on the details right now as we speak, but let me give you guys my speculation. Jade Cargill is obviously going to be out for some time. I understand. Also, we got Survivor Series coming up. I know we don't do kickoff shows very much, but WWE should have a match on the kickoff show. I think WWE needs to crown champions as soon as possible. You have 2 teams from Raw, 2 teams from SmackDown, and do 2 teams from NXT. Give everybody an opportunity. Do it as Survivor Series because the match card is already going to be smaller as is. And ultimately, at the end of the day, it's important that WWE crowns new women's championships or crown new women's tag team champions. So listen, it's unfortunate. These tag titles are cursed. People get injured. This is what happens. People have to vacate the belts, and I understand that greatly. I could see why people are frustrated about it. But I also think there is light at the end of the tunnel in this particular storyline because with Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair, I do believe there is an opportunity long-term for Jade and Bianca to have a singles feud. And the best way to do that would legitimately be because Jade got injured. And what's actually really cool here is they're running a storyline as to who attacked Jade. I think this could be really, really interesting stuff. Who knows how WWE goes about it? But I also want to say about the tag titles being vacated. Right now, WWE just introduced the Women's United States Championship, the Women's Intercontinental Championship. I think, and maybe this isn't the greatest opinion, but I think there is much more reason to finally just retire these women's tag team title belts and put all that effort into the women's mid card. I don't know if that's a popular opinion or not. I don't know if that's deemed as controversial, but what I do know is that I would rather see the effort there. And I think WWE would be much smarter and much better off if they focused on those women's mid-card belts. I think there's a lot of women who could benefit from being in those title pictures versus the women's tag team division. Quite frankly, WWE struggles with the men's tag team division and the women's tag team division, and I would much rather see them make this change altogether. Granted, we don't know how it's going to go. We don't know when it's going to be announced, but I do fully suspect that WWE will probably make an announcement relatively soon, maybe even as soon as this Friday SmackDown. Just keep in mind it was pre-taped, so maybe WWE would have to add in some sort of backstage segment or pre-taped segment with Nick Aldis making the decision. And that leads us to our final topic of today's video, guys. Massive TNA signings revealed. That's right, Matt and Jeff Hardy have officially agreed to joining TNA. They've won the tag team title belts. They've been appearing on TNA television, but a lot of people didn't know that they weren't actually signed to TNA. It was a handshake deal. There was rumors that maybe they would even go back to AEW, maybe go back to WWE, but they have decided to commit to TNA. This is very good, honestly. This is very good for the industry. This is very good for professional wrestling, and this is very good for TNA. I'm very happy for TNA to be making this kind of move. I think Matt and Jeff Hardy are absolutely legends. I don't feel like they were booked well in AEW. Not AEW's fault. Let me be very clear. Not AEW's fault, but they weren't booked well in AEW. And that's because of the situation that led to Jeff Hardy and his arrest. So I think these guys are great. I think they're phenomenal talents. They are coming to the end of their career. They are highly respected. Things were not perfect along the way in the journey, but TNA is a perfect way for them to end their careers if that's what they choose. Obviously, now they have that commitment. I do believe people and this, they deserve a second chance. Jeff made a lot of mistakes. Obviously, it hurt Matt Hardy too. And it's unfortunate and it sucks. And it's one of those things where I will be very clear with you guys. I understand why it didn't work out in AEW. I really do understand why. But at the same time too, being in TNA gives them a chance to rebound. It gives Jeff a chance to rebound. And these are brothers, man. They're going to do their tag team stuff. I want to see them bring Willow to the TV screen. I want to see Matt Hardy do the broken gimmick. I want to see them do a variety of things. And when you look at NXT and TNA working together, I would love to see them involved in both companies as well. But again, we're not going to blame AEW for their situation. You know what I mean? It was very foolish. There was a lot of bullshit associated with it, and it sucks and it's unfortunate. But hey, can't live in the past. Got to move on. Let's see what they do. Let's see how they move forward. And quite frankly, if they end their careers in TNA, there is nothing wrong with that. Both of them had successful careers in TNA, and I would be happy for them. Also, tag team wrestling across the board is a struggle, and I'm hoping TNA uses this opportunity not only to grow their brand, but hopefully when Matt and Jeff are ready to retire, they are ready to put over the next big tag team that is in TNA. So that's what I would look forward to. That's what I would like to see. Obviously, we'll see what happens. But ladies and gentlemen, that is the Ango Show. Thank you so much for watching.